Hey everyone, the numbers are in for the Panama City Beach market for July of 2025. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group over at Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices. This video, I just want to give a quick update on what's going on in the Gulfront condo market, the detached single family market, go through a few neighborhoods, Breakfast Point, Bay Point, some things like that. Also look at the Gulfront detached market and see how things have changed from the previous month. So let's jump right into some numbers. For those of you who haven't seen one of these videos before, I talk about months of inventory a lot. Months of inventory is a very simple number, and an easy way for us to track the market and see how hot or cold a real estate market may be. 5 or 6 months of inventory has traditionally meant neutral market territory. So if there's anything, if there's any such a thing as a normal market in real estate, 5 or 6 months of inventory would represent this normal market. If the months of inventory number is lower, that means things are selling faster, there's more demand, it's a hotter market. That's normally where you see more price appreciation. When the months of inventory number is higher, that's when you see markets slow down, things are taking longer to sell, there's more supply, and the more extremely high that number goes, the softer the market is. That's where you start to see price depreciation, buyer market territory. So we start with the Gulfront condo market. This is all the buildings built since 2005. We've been slowing down since March of 2023. March of 2023, we were at 1.28 months of inventory. Extremely hot market. You can see simply we've been slowing down. In May, we hit 21 months of inventory. We've recovered slightly to about 17 months in July, but 21 months of inventory is right at as high as the slowest month or the highest months of inventory in 2008, 2009 during the financial crisis. Another way to say that is in May of this year, the market in the newer Gulfront condo buildings was as slow as the worst month or the slowest month of the 2008-2009 financial crisis. And that's in May. We've gotten a little bit better to 17 months of inventory, but remember, 17 months of inventory is effectively saying it's going to take us 17 months to sell out of all the condos that are for sale if nothing else comes up for sale in that timeline. And the reason we like to look at this is look at what it has to do with price. Price is almost the direct opposite of this. When our months of inventory number was very low, pricing tended to be pretty high. In fact, it was moving up slightly. When the number starts to climb a little bit, you can see prices start to move down somewhat. And as we really start to take off, prices can really start to fall. So it's a number we like to pay attention to. Now, anybody that talks to you about this should also be willing to get very specific. So, because look at the difference. This is the buildings built since 2005. But if I look at a building like Majestic Beach Resort, similar trend, right? We've been slowing down, but we didn't slow down from 1 month of inventory. We were at 10. We've slowed down to about 20 months of inventory in Majestic Beach. So if you're talking about pricing or you're talking about how hot or cold a market is, that's very different than 17 months of inventory. Price trends are probably similar. It's still a Gulfront condo. A little less activity because there's less data to analyze. But then if you go look at another building like Aqua, similar trend, right? You can kind of see patching the data together that it's been slowing down also. But their market's only at 11 months of inventory. So if you got to be very analytical, the Aqua market is doing a little bit better than the Majestic Beach market that's doing a little bit better on average than the entire market. And the subtle differences on pricing and value for each one. You can do the same thing for housing. This is the detached single family market for all of Panama City Beach. So this is Gulfront house in Palmetto Trace, house in Bay Point, Breakfast Point, North Lagoon Drive, whatever. So back in March of 2023, we were at 3 months of inventory, very much seller's market. Slowed down. We peaked in January of this year at 12.86 months of inventory, but it's been a pretty good spring selling season in housing. And we're at 7.57 months of inventory right now. Price trends, pretty similar. We were higher here and pricing has come down a little bit. We could get really analytical and specific on that if you wanted to, just let me know. But if you want to look at individual neighborhoods, like this is Breakfast Point. Breakfast Point is sitting at 2.14 months of inventory. Look at the difference there. The overall housing market's at 7.57. Breakfast Point is at 2.14, much hotter market than average. If you look at Bay Point, actually I pulled Bay Point, anything on the canal, just as a, to try to show you what's going on in different markets. On the canal, a few things to notice here. If you look at all these holes in the chart where you don't see any plots on the graph, that means there isn't even a sale on the canal. Recently, February or March of this year, we were at 4 months of inventory, 5 months of inventory. So seller market territory somewhat on the canal if you're priced right. But look at all these gaps. There's a lot more to dig into there if you were an owner on the canal. But you can see my point here is that how very different little submarkets can be in the overall market. And if you look at the Gulf front detached single family market, again, yes, we've been slowing down from 1.67 months of inventory. March of this year, we peaked at 10 months of inventory in April. So not quite as slow as the Gulf front condo market. But again, anytime you have these holes in the chart, that's a way of showing that things are pretty slow because you don't even have one sale to pick up then. So very generally speaking, all these markets from Gulf front condos slowing down over the last few years, detached single family slowing down, but probably having a better spring than the Gulf front condo market. Gulf front detached single family slowing down, not a lot of sales over the last year. And again, if we look at price trends in the Gulf front condo market moving down pretty clearly. In the detached single family market is a little bit more of a mixed messaging, but generally prices are being tugged down. You would want to get more specific there, especially in detached single family, because you might have a house that someone lives in, or a house that's a rental, a house that's on the water, a house that's not, a house that's in an HOA, a house that's not. And all those little differences will have everything to do with how hot or cold your little market is. But very generally, softer across the board. So I know a lot of you are already on a distribution list for receiving your particular neighborhood or your particular condo project. If you're not and you would like to be, just shoot me a text at 850-290-0417. I'll set you up so that you receive the information on a regular basis, like once a month, of your particular neighborhood or condo project. It's an easy way to keep up with the market, to keep up with pricing. I get more specific on pricing in those videos. And also, there's no charge, there's no obligation to work with me. I just like to try to get as much accurate information out there for people to consume. So I hope this helps give you some understanding of what the market's done through July. A lot of times the market can get softer in detached single family later in the year. It can actually be pretty decent for vacation rental properties, because now that we're out of the season, it's easier to show things again. And so we can start to show properties easier. Buyers can get in and see things, and so we write more contracts. So I hope this helps. Again, I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Thanks for watching.